Hey, y'all remember when I said people used to say, "Oh, you talk white or you act white"? Hey, I ain't gonna lie, y'all. This definitely didn't help. I'm not even gonna hold you. This kind of even helped further their case, unfortunately. Enjoy the
I
video.
am the stone that the builder refused. I am the visual, the inspiration that made ladies sing the blues. I'm the spark that makes your idea bright. The same spark that lights the dark so that you can know your left from your right. I am the ballad in your box, the bullet in the gun, the inner glow that let you know to call your brother son. The story that just begun, the promise of what's to come. And I'ma remain a soldier till the war is won. Chop, 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 judo flip. Chop, 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 judo flip. Chop, chop, chop.
What's good, y'all? Welcome back. And I said, welcome back to yet another video. Alright, y'all. So, y'all know I've been talking about my childhood a lot lately. I'm not even gonna hold you. But let's talk about something else. So basically, growing up, I've always been a NASCAR fan. Oh snap, that's crazy. Oh, that's crazy. That's really crazy because the thing is though is that I remember I'll be getting all these type of reactions to me being a NASCAR fan. Reactions like the one I just displayed. Reaction that's like, what? NASCAR? What? NASCAR? What? NASCAR? Are you serious? Yes. As you can see, the car is right here, right? I've been a NASCAR fan for since 2006, 7, around 17, almost 18 years now. Like, it's actually crazy. It's actually insane because being a NASCAR fan came with a bit of disrespect. I'm not gonna hold you. It did. I'm not gonna hold you. It was kind of one of those things where it's like people didn't understand it, right? People didn't really get why I liked racing so much. Like, it was kind of one of those things where people were confused. People were really like baffled as to what I liked. Um, yes, especially my peers. Yeah, I'm always talking about my peers. Always have and always probably will be. Um, basically, I would kind of get questions like, "Isn't that? Aren't they just going around in circles? Or isn't that boring? Or how could you watch that? Or isn't that just for white people?" I would get all those ignorant type of conversations, and you know how I would respond to it is that I just got into it. I love fast stuff. I love racing. I saw cars when I was a kid, and I just enjoyed it. I just got hooked ever since. And people never really understood it. Why do you even like NASCAR? You know what I'm saying? I'm remembering these questions literally over a decade ago. Like, these would be the questions I would always get. Um, But yeah, life as a black NASCAR fan didn't really make any sense to a lot of people because while everybody would be into sports, it would be like basketball and football. Those are the main sports. And don't get me wrong, I love basketball and football. Those are great sports to sit down, watch, go to a game in person, be invested in. I can definitely get that and see that. Don't get me wrong, and I can see how people love it, and I've always been around basketball and football. I kid you not. The kids around here will always play basketball and football type shit. You know what I'm saying? They will always play it. I'm not gonna lie to you. Right across the street that I'm looking at right now, bro. When I would see my friends at the time play basketball at that goal over there, well, that was over there. Unfortunately, it's not there no more. I'd be like, "Oh, damn, let me come out and play with y'all." I was always ass at basketball. I'm not gonna hold you. And football. I was terrible at everything, literally. But I'm always surrounded by those type of sports. You know what I mean? It's kind of it just was what it was. But my guilty pleasure, I guess, when I would come inside from playing football or basketball with my friends, say if it was a weekend, I come in and watch NASCAR. I watch the race. I'm like, yo, this is great. But I'll see y'all in a little bit. My race about to start coming on. Yeah, and I'm not lying to y'all. That's how I really was. But they didn't understand my love for it either. Yeah, nobody really did. So how did I get into NASCAR? It was my mom took me to go see cars, right? I already liked toy cars anyway at the time. Like, you know how kids would enjoy like toy cars and stuff like that, or Hot Wheels, like boys, right? My mom and dad, they would kind of get me one here and there when I was younger. They thought I would like it. Yeah. So, I would, have little toys here and there around here. And also, family would give me toy cars too. So, I guess I already kind of got into collecting little toy cars. So, I already kind of like the aspect of race cars and stuff like that. And um, my mom would take me to the movies to go see cars. And I remember watching it. I remember it was one of the first movies, like I said, that I've ever watched at the movie theater. And I remember being really in love with that movie. I remember seeing everything for the first time, and it blew me away. It really did. I remember the entrance scene with Lightning McQueen and Chick Hicks and all those race car characters, and I remember being like, "Dang, this is amazing! This is lit! They're racing hard, like, and they're wrecking. Like, there was a big wreck scene. I'm like, yo, that is crazy! That is insane! Are you serious? What?" And they have such great designs to their cars too. Like, if it wasn't for that movie, I probably wouldn't be into NASCAR. It would probably change me for the worse if I didn't see that movie. Like, I can't believe it. But back to the movie. The movie really blew me away, and I remember leaving the film and I'm like, dang, this is incredible. This is some crazy stuff. I loved it. I really enjoyed it. And after that, I loved everything fast even more. I loved everything racing even more. I loved it. And I remember, I think I was scrolling through TV, or at least my dad was one day, and I saw NASCAR on TV. I'm like, yo, this is crazy. What? What is this? This is real? This is real? Like, what, this actually happens? And I can't remember if it was either 2006 or 7. I remember my first race that I can remember in 07, 2007, but I do remember there was some NASCAR type of things in the house already in 2006. So I'm like, did I have my first race in 2006 or 2007? But, one of those 2 years. But after that, yeah, cars really got me hooked on NASCAR. It really did. Got me hooked, got me collecting cars like this in general, and I just fell in love with it. And I remember the first race I can really remember on some real stuff was the 2007 Daytona 500. It was a NASCAR race. My dad was flipping through the channels when I woke up from a nap that day. It was a Sunday night, and I saw it, and I'm like, Dad, go back, go back. Right? And he was flipping through the channels when I got to the living room, and he turned back, and I'm like, oh snap, this is like racing. This is like what Lightning McQueen was doing. He's like, oh yeah, it's NASCAR, yeah. And I'm like, I'm hooked. And I see the finish of that race, and that finish was crazy. That finish was insane. I see a car flipping, Clint Boyer in the '07 car, and it was on fire too, and it was a photo finish. That finish was like a movie to me. It really was. It was like a movie. That finish was like an entire film to me. It really was. It was a very spectacular finish. And if I wasn't hooked on NASCAR before, I was definitely was at that point. Then I remember I came back for the next week. And I came back for the week after that, and the week after that, and the week after that. And also, I remember there was some races that year that I do remember missing because I mean, I was like, what, 6? I didn't know where to look at the schedule at to know what was on TV at what time or not. I just, when I was younger, I remember I'd be like, okay, it's a Sunday. The race should be Sunday right after church, right? Um, yeah, I just assumed that it was every Sunday, but I forgot, or at least I didn't know that there was races on Saturdays too, or Saturday nights, or even truck races on Friday. Like I didn't know that much. You feel me? I was still getting into the sport. That was like my first or potentially second year. But all I really wanted to see was cars go around fast. And ever since then, I was hooked on it. Yeah, little story time. So, why do I like NASCAR? What interests me about it? Well, it's first of all, it's much more than just turning around in circles. It's much more than that. It's much more than just going around in circles for 3 hours. It's much more to that. You feel me? I guess that's a simple way to say it, but the way I see it and the way most NASCAR fans see it is drivers that are going around the track at almost 200 miles per hour, trying to control their car the best, right? Sitting in over 100-degree ovens, trying to wheel the car perfectly, trying to make sure everything is perfect on the car so they could pass somebody to win the race. Right? You know what I mean? And it's much more to that too. You got to make sure your car isn't out of control. You got to make sure you don't wreck other drivers. You got to make sure you don't do this. You got to make sure you don't do that. There's a lot to make sure when it comes to racing. It's much more than just going around in circles. And that would interest me about it. And they're going around, like I said, in circles at almost 200 miles per hour. They lowered the horsepower now, which I'm not a fan of. Of course not. I like the cars to go as fast as they possibly can because I don't know. It really makes the sport much better that way, right? And everybody's competitive and they're fighting for one spot, and that is first place. They're all fighting for the first spot, and I love strategy, right? Who could save enough fuel to win the race if those races come down to it, right? And also, like, say if the car are about to wreck, right? The cars are about to spin out, and they save it. That's a lot of talent right there, and I really enjoy that. And also, say when the car loses power steering, right? You feel me? Where there's nothing that can help you, turn the car any more than what it already is. You gotta will that by yourself the entire time, and that causes so much strength, so much focus, and so much dedication. I love stuff like that. I love it, and I love watching it. And also the cars. The cars look so beautiful. I love the way the cars are designed, like the paint schemes. Well, not all of them. Some designers don't know how to design a car at all to look good, but I like the designs on the car. Sometimes the colors pop, sometimes the colors got flames on it. Like here's an old car right here. See? Look at the flames. I like designs like that. I like the creativity. It shows me that they actually care. It shows me that they actually care about what they're representing every week. You know what I mean? Um, yeah, it's a lot to it that I really enjoy. It really is, and I'm not gonna lie, I'm not a fan for wrecks, right? I'm really not. But sometimes when you see a spectacular wreck, a a very huge crash that takes out so many different individuals, right? You feel me? It's like, wow, that's spectacular. Of course, it's dangerous. You don't wish that on nobody, of course, right? But when you see it, like, dang, that is spectacular. That is wow. Like I remember when I was younger, it did catch my attention. And I'm not that type of fan, y'all. Don't get me wrong. I'm not that type of fan that wants wrecks. But that it was spectacular to watch when I was younger because, bro, I don't see cars wreck on a daily basis. You know what I mean? I don't see cars wreck. You know what I mean? When I'm on the highway, I don't see stuff like that. You know what I mean? And you barely see people walk away from spectacular wrecks that NASCAR drivers do. You know what I'm saying? These drivers, they walk away from spectacular wrecks. And I mean some crazy, bizarre wrecks. I know a lot of mainstream or at least casual people that watch racing expect that and are interested in that. And I'm not going to lie, it's a spectacular thing. It's a spectacular thing. Like, it's just one of those things where it gets your attention. You know what I mean? So, yeah. Yeah, that's some crazy stuff. And to see the drivers walk away, like I said, it's amazing. It's amazing. Um, but yeah, there's a lot more to it. I mean, sometimes I like the fights. The fights be funny. I don't know what to. The fights really capture my attention a lot too. To see the pit crew members, change tires like, go around in like rapid speed, changing the lug nuts off the cars, even though there's only just one lug nut now on the cup cars. But when they would do that, oh my goodness, it would be incredible to see. Yeah, it's much more to racing than just driving around in circles. You know what I'm saying? A lot of people be like, "Oh, I don't think it's a sport," and let's get to that. There are a lot of people who believe that NASCAR isn't a sport, right? There are people that I grew up with that would criticize NASCAR and be like, "Oh, it's not a sport." I remember one dude, right, that stayed right behind me like a few years ago said that um, NASCAR drivers are pussies. right? And they don't have the dicks to drive a real sport. When I was younger, I just let it slide. But as I got older, I kind of realized that was a very stupid comment. Extremely stupid comment. NASCAR is one of the most dangerous sports in the world. It really is. Auto racing in general, it's a really dangerous sport, and it's one of the most dangerous. Like I said, it's one of the most dangerous sports of all time. It really is. And by definition, NASCAR is a sport. Auto racing is a sport by definition. I mean, you could live in your own fantasy world if you don't believe it's a sport, right? If you don't understand it, that's fine, right? Because a lot of people they don't understand racing, this, that, and the third. Some people don't understand football, but that's them. You feel me? That's their opinion. But with freedom of speech comes with that. But it doesn't come with freedom of rebuttals and freedom of arguments. So this is my argument to that. I think that was the most dumbest thing he could say, right? That NASCAR drivers are pussies. I never found that comment interesting. I never agreed with it and never will. Like I said, it's one of the most dangerous sports of all time where we actually see heavy crashes on a daily basis. Not daily basis, but weekly basis. We see some crashes, we see some wrecks. They're in what over 100-degree heat for over 2 hours. They're controlling a big machine that can go crazy at any moment. Cars, wrecks, like it is dangerous. Duh. Like I don't think it takes a rocket scientist to know why that's a very dangerous sport. I really don't get why people would even say some dumb shit like that, but it is what it is. Um, yeah. Another thing I would get, why do you even like NASCAR? Which I just addressed. NASCAR isn't a sport. I feel like I just kind of elaborated as to why it is a sport. You know, it takes a lot of concentration, a lot of focus, a lot of self control. You know, and they're going, like I said, almost 200 miles per hour, and it's much more than just turning left for 2 hours. They actually turn right. Road courses, they exist. They're here. Sometimes they race in the rain, and that takes a lot more frustration and a lot more concentration. Yeah, there's a lot of reasons why I'm into NASCAR the way I am. Even the drivers. I mean, I fell in love with drivers. You know what I mean? Drivers were cool as hell. They were cool as hell to look up to. You know, some of them had the best personality. Who did I grow up with? I grew up with Jeff Gordon, Jimmy Johnson, Tony Stewart, Kyle Busch, Dale Earnhardt Jr., Matt Kenseth. Like, I grew up with some very funny individuals that they would drive on a weekly basis. You know, of course, most of my guys that I grew up with are retired now, which is sad, but it is what it is. I love those drivers, and they had some beautiful looking cars back in the day too. I'm rambling. So yeah, life like as a black NASCAR fan, it can be very unorthodox because it's you don't see a lot of black NASCAR fans. You don't see it. I've been seeing a lot more lately though, thank God. But I remember when I first got into the sport, I wouldn't hear about black NASCAR, you know, fans like that, and they damn sure weren't present around me, even at school. But yeah, I still am a NASCAR fan to this day. You know what I'm saying? Even you know what I'm saying? Even nowadays I still kinda get those questions. Sean, I always meant to ask you, why are you into NASCAR? Why do you like NASCAR? And I would tell them why. And sometimes they would even understand where I'm coming from. Like, oh, I get that. I get that. And I also know some other people who be like, oh dang, Sean, do you like NASCARs? Do you like NASCAR just for the wrecks? Yeah. I would get picked on for being a NASCAR fan. Yeah, I would. Here and there. But, you know, I said, you know, I'm gonna just make a video about it like 13 years later talking about you. You know what I mean? So it is what it is. Yeah. And what is my life like now as a black NASCAR fan? It's nice, you know what I'm saying? It's nice. I don't really get any of that BS that I be hearing. Like I be going to races, right? And another stereotype when it comes to NASCAR fans. Oh, they're racist, they're bigoted, this, that, and the third. But no, absolutely not. Don't get me wrong. I'm pretty sure there is some. Because, you know, NASCAR Loki had a racial had a racist history from way back in the day. I'm not gonna lie to you. Almost every sport did, right? But NASCAR, of course, being created in the South, those people weren't really the nicest people towards black people, including the fans. So yeah, NASCAR, you can tell they're trying to get out of that stereotype, and I applaud them for it, 1000%. And I'm glad they can make people like me feel welcome, or at least they're trying to make people like me feel welcome. Although they've been doing that for decades at this point, right? They have been, but they still unfortunately find themselves in the stereotype of racist sport. It's unfortunate. But like I said, I've met nothing but great NASCAR fans that show me nothing but love, show me nothing but support, show me nothing but open arms. You know what I mean? So I never had a single bad problem with a NASCAR fan in person when I went to the races. When I go to the races, I remember for a long time I always wanted to go to a race. Always have, always wanted to. My first race is the 2019 All Star race, and that was because I was graduating. So my aunt decided to, I'll take you out to your first NASCAR race to show you love for graduating, as a gift. And I'm like, thank you so much. Thank you. This is amazing. And I really appreciated that. And I enjoyed every single second of it. Cap, when I was younger, I never thought I'd be going to a race. Never thought I was. But then I did. I've gone to 3 NASCAR races, and I will be going to a lot more in the future. And I'll be vlogging it right here on this channel. Yeah, I'm never not falling in love with NASCAR. Never not. But that kind of leads me to yet another part of this conversation. A time where I kind of wanted to get out of NASCAR because my friends were low key kind of trying to play me for it. Yeah, let me go to a point in my life where I was trying to get out of NASCAR because my friends would kind of play me for it, and I was a weak individual, right? I was a very weak individual, you know what I'm saying? I low key did care about what my friends had to say about me. The friends around here. Um, so around 2013, 14, and maybe 15. Nah, it was 2014 and 15, more or less. My friends a lot, they didn't really understand me, when it comes to NASCAR. They didn't really understand why I enjoyed that sport the way I did. They didn't really understand it. They were kind of just, oh, he's in the NASCAR. He's not gonna do this, or little backhanded stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? And if I could remember, but I do remember feeling some type of way when they would try to talk about NASCAR to me when I was younger. It's like they was trying to play me, but around that time, I would kind of tell them, no, I'm not into NASCAR no more. No, I'm not into NASCAR because I'm trying to fit in, right? I would tell them, I'm not into NASCAR. No, I'm not into NASCAR. You know what I'm saying? So as I gotten around that time, I was like, what, 13, 14? I was really wanting to impress them, unfortunately. Um, and I would often skip out on certain NASCAR races to go over there. And mind you, when I was younger, it would hurt my heart to skip out on a NASCAR race. It really would. It would hurt my soul because I watched it so religiously. Right after church, boom, it was on. On a Sunday or Saturday afternoon, boom, it was on. Maybe sometimes Friday nights, it was going to be on that television. So it would hurt my heart to miss a race. It still does to this day. I would hate to miss a race in any way, shape, or I would hate it. I can't stand missing a race because I love the sport so much. So I would purposely miss races around 2014, 15 because I wanted to impress them, and I missed out a lot of good times around that time. A lot of good races because 2014 was actually a good season. 2015, honestly, I didn't really need to watch that season because it really was a weak season to me. I'm not gonna cap, but that's not the point of the conversation. But yeah, but until eventually, I'm like, you know what? I don't really care what they have to say. I don't really care what they think. So I started watching NASCAR more weekly again because who cares about what other people have to say? If you're into something, that's what you're into. Okay, so back to it. Yeah, I would get criticism for being an NASCAR fan here and there. Yeah, of course. Oh, it's boring. They just go around in circles. But I already addressed those individuals. That's their opinion. You can't really change that. Mm. Yeah, I still love NASCAR. I watch it every weekend. Every weekend. Every weekend. I'll never miss a day. Does NASCAR is it a frustrating sport? Yes. Some of the leaders that I'm very frustrated with for the past, I don't know, 10 years, I guess, or maybe even the year I just started. Um, but yeah, I'm pretty sure there's a lot more I could really say, but I think I, you know, talked about it enough. Yeah, shout out to Lightning McQueen. Shout out to my mom. Shout out to everybody who introduced me and got me into NASCAR. I'm not gonna count to you, Disney. Yeah, shout out to y'all. Shout out to everybody who introduced me to the sport. And I will say this though, I'm starting to find more black NASCAR fans nowadays. I really am. I'm starting to. I can't believe it. I can't believe it. I really can't believe it. It's really crazy. Shout out to Black Flags Matter. Shout out to one of my dad's friends from like 2008 who had a bunch of NASCAR stuff. I remember that around Christmas time. Crazy time. Um, yeah, finding black NASCAR fans is it can be very. It's like finding a needle in a haystack at times. But I'm rambling. I'm rambling. So yeah, that is life as a black NASCAR fan. I mean, it's much better now. I'm around much more mature individuals. I'm around individuals who don't really care anymore, right? You're into what you like to, and yeah, I mean, those are kids. It is what it is, but I'm still talking about it. So it is what it is. So I hope y'all really enjoyed this video, whoever this may reach to, because I don't really have a lot of NASCAR fans on my channel other than the ones on Xbox. Shout out to y'all. Shout out to y'all. I appreciate y'all for tuning in. If y'all do. So which some of them are black, by the way. Some of them are black. So all right, I'm rambling. All right, y'all.